Hey everyone, KitaSean here, so welcome back to another Worth the Rule video for Fate Grand Order. As many of you guys know, Fate Grand Order JP is hyped up with the latest story chapter, Lost Belt 6.5. In this video, we'll be discussing if Kriemhild, the 4-star berserker from the current gacha, is worth the role or not, and I'll give you guys a little hint. I think so. Of course, we'll be talking about her stats, skills, noble phantasm, team setup, CEs, and command cards. So let's get right to it. Kriemhild max attack stat is 10,400 and HP is 9,922. That's of course without the foes. You can check out the foe stats right in front of you on your screen. Her star absorption is 10, generation is 4.9%, MP charge on attack is 0.53%, MP charge on defense is 5%. Her command card consists of 1 quick, 2 arts, 2 busters. All cards do 3 hits and the extra does 5 hits. So looking at her command card deck, she is like a buster arts hybrid. She also has a skill that helps out both arts and buster, which we'll get into that later. But looking at her stats, honestly, it looks very average. Star gen is really not great, but that is pretty normal for berserkers. MP gain is average, but if she hits crits with those arts cards, she can gain a lot of MP. But it's her skills that makes her so good. Now let's go ahead and talk about those. Her first skill can reduce all enemy MP gauge by 1, reduce their defense for 3 turns from 10 to 20%, and reduce their critical attack chance for 3 turns from 10 to 20%. This is a good skill, good for both defense and attack. It's always great to have a skill that reduces enemy MP gauge, and reduce crit damage is great as well because there have been tons of enemies in story and events that have skills that buff their crit damage, so it's a great way to counter that. Of course, reduced defense is great so that she can end the party, can do more damage. Her second skill increases her own art and buster performance from 20 to 30%. It also increases own damage against chaotic alignment enemies for 3 turns from 30 to 50%. This is just a really strong skill. Both her arts and buster cards just do a bunch of damage, plus her passive skill, which we'll talk about in a bit, adds on to the buster damage. The arts cards will also allow her to gain more MP. Her third skill, Affection of the Court Lady EX, it has a 500% chance to draw attention of all enemies to one ally by 300% for 1 turn, has an MP battery 30 to 50%, and she can recover her own HP from 1,000 to 3,000 HP. The third skill is just pretty crazy. I thought 30% MP battery would have been nice, but they just threw in a 50% battery. I mean, like, what? The 3,000 heal is always nice for berserkers for survivability, but the effect to give taunt to anyone in your party is pretty crazy. You don't want your berserkers gaining hit, so this is a really cool way to dodge damage. Usually you want evade or invincibility, but this is just another great way of defense. She only has 1 passive skill, Mad Enhancements EX, increases her own buster performance by 12%, again helps out with the buster damage. And then onto her append skills, I mean, they're all the same except for the third one. It increases critical attack chance resistance against saber enemies. And her noble phantasm is what we want to talk about as well. Balmung Kriemhild, a single target arts noble phantasm that removes enemy defense buffs before hit and deals 150% extra damage against dragon enemies. Overcharge effect is reduced enemy arts resistance for 3 turns from 20 to 40%. This is a really strong MP. It gets rid of all the enemy defense buffs before hit, all of them. That's crazy. The best team setup for Kriemhild is, of course, putting in Castoria as a support and, you know, getting that arts buff, getting that MP gain, and just try to throw out her MP as much as possible. Like, no question, Castoria is the way to go. Of course, you can throw in some other arts servant supports like Tamamo and Hohenheim for, you know, more buff. The best CEs you want to add on her is, I believe, Black Rail, because you do want to do more damage with that MP, especially against boss fights. But you could put other CEs that give her 50% MP at the start of battle, because she does have that 50% MP battery, so you can definitely, you know, shoot her MP turn 1. But yeah, I do think some crit damage would be nice, some arts buff would be nice, or arts buster hybrid CEs would be nice as well. But yeah, she has a lot of option CEs. Any staple command card should work well with her, anything with crit damage and stuff like that. You could also add on some like Dragon Slayer Sword and Demonic Twilight Dragon to do more damage against dragon enemies, because I mean her MP does do more damage against dragons. overall, I think Kriemhild is a really strong servant. You can even compare her to Vlad and Galatea, which is the crazy part. They are 5-star servants. She is a 4-star servant. She might not be able to produce the same damage as them, but it's close. And I think her skills are actually a good way to balance between that. So yeah, I do think she is a great servant to pick up. If you already have Vlad or Galatea, then I think it's okay to skip on her. But at the same time, this gacha is just really good. I mean, you already have Charlemagne, you have Roland, and you have Kriemhild. Like, these are all really great servants. And I think she is a great boss killer. So again, if you don't have Vlad or Galatea, I think it's great to pick her up. And I mean, she is a great substitute for that. Plus, she's waifu. So yeah, there you guys have it. That is my thoughts on Kriemhild. Again, I think she's great. I do think she is a great pickup, and yeah, definitely try her out if you have not done so. Comment down below and tell me if you guys picked her up or you guys plan to, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.